Hello.
We're talking with Jessica Chastain. This is incredible.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to Philadelphia.
My pleasure. How is Philadelphia doing today?
It's cold.
It's cold.
Is it cold?
Yeah. Absolutely
yeah,
cold.
I'm cold in New York. I'm freezing.
Yeah, it's probably even colder up in New York, so I'm sorry. But so
It's all
tell,
right.
do you have? Talk to me about your connections to Philadelphia.
Sadly, I don't have connections to Philadelphia. I mean, I've been there. I've run up the steps and waved my arms in the air like
Yeah, well, I mean,
Rocky.
that's a connection,
Loved it.
right? Like you left your mark.
Right.
It's true. I do love the city, but sadly, I'd love to make a movie there, so I could really spend or a TV show or whatever, so I could really spend a lot of time
Yeah.
to get to know the place.
Well, 6 degrees of separation. Loved you in Molly's game. Molly's brother
Thanks.
played for the Philadelphia Eagles.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. I mean, poor Molly, man, she's just surrounded by athletes.
Yeah.
Like, everyone is so successful in that family.
I know. It's crazy. I have to tell you a really quick story before we get into talking about George and Tammy. So my husband used to work for the Eagles, and her brother used to work for the Eagles, right? And he's an Olympic skier.
Yeah.
But so my husband's working out in the gym at the Eagles facility, and he's jogging on the gym, and he looks over, and he sees, I forget what his name is now, but he sees them running next to him, and he's like, oh my gosh, like I'm keeping up with him, because he sees that it's like they're going at the same speed. And then he turns around and looks. He's running backwards on the treadmill.
Oh, no.
The same speed that my husband is running forwards on the treadmill.
I love, though, that he was like, oh, yeah, I can keep up with this guy.
I know. He's like, he's an Olympian. I got
Right.
this.
NBD, not at all.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Jessica
Amazing.
Chastain, Oscar winner. That will always be in front of your name. First of all, I think that's like the coolest thing
Aw.
ever.
Pretty stinking cool, that. I'm still getting used to it. It hasn't even been a year.
And I will say she's been in some of my favorite movies of all time. You mentioned Molly's Game, Zero Dark 30.
So good.
The Help, Interstellar, The
Yeah.
Martian. Are you kidding me? These are all my top 25 favorite movies, and all in common is Jessica Chastain.
Well, I was watching
Aw,
George and Tammy
thanks.
last night, and I was thinking, you really know how to pick them,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're not in crappy stuff. You're in really good stuff.
Oh, well, I love Tammy Wynette. The more I researched her, the more I just became obsessed with her. And, of course, I love working with Mike Shannon, who plays George Jones. And what a phenomenal actor he is, man.
I have
So,
so
yeah,
many
it was a great experience.
so many questions about this because like when you play a fictional character, you get to just make it up. But you've done really well at playing real life people. I would think that adds so much pressure to you as an actor. But is there something that you learned about Tammy that just kind of helped you find that character and really connect with her?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was so much misconception about her singing Stand By Your Man. And she said her whole life, she's like, listen, the song's not about being a doormat. And yet, there's a lot of feminist groups that were very anti-Tammy Wynette because she sang that song, and they thought she was anti-woman. When in reality, she married 5 times. She stood by George Jones her whole life and took him on tour even when he wasn't doing well and they were divorced. But doesn't mean you have to stay married to someone just because you stand by them.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I want to back up a little bit here. And were you a big country fan per se before taking on this role? Is there an artist that you love to listen to that maybe we play here on 92.5 XTU?
Listen, I love Tammy. She kind of, for me, I love Dolly. Oh man, I love Dolly. I used to watch when I was a kid. I used to love Dolly's movies. Do you remember, 9 to 5? Also,
Yep.
remember she did that movie with Sylvester Stallone where they played singers.
No, I don't remember
You guys
that.
ever see
That's
that
a
one?
deep cut.
Oh, it is amazing, you guys. And they banter back and forth. And I just remember looking at Dolly and being like, there's no one better than you. I mean, she was phenomenal. And also, I love the Ken Burns documentary on country music.
It's
So
incredible.
good.
He's a master.
Rhinestone, 1984
Master.
Rhinestone, Dolly Parton and
Rhinestone.
Sylvester
That's it.
Stallone.
Hilarious.
You haven't seen, Gotta see it. Gotta see it.
Uh,
But
okay.
also, I love Kitty Wells. Sorry, I'll stop. I just, I love it all.
No, that's so great. What I love about this story and about George and Tammy, and I was thinking about it while I was watching the first 2 episodes, which are out now, by the way, is it. What I love about it is that this is exactly what makes country music unique, or it's unique to country music, and that's the vulnerability, right? Like George and Tammy,
Hmm.
wickedly talented and tragically flawed,
Mm.
and they didn't hide any of it.
Oh no, they hid nothing. I mean, everyone talks about, rock and roll and punk as though those they have, the corner on romantic chaos
Yeah.
and like passion and fire. I'm sorry, there's no story more wild than George Jones and Tammy Wynette and him showing up at her house in front of Dawn Chapel and that scene that really happened. And then them singing about it, them opening up their hearts and singing about it, divorcing, and then being on stage together, and George trying to kiss her, and all of these things when they're with other people. I mean, the two of them are just so exciting to watch.
Well, and passionate too. So I want to talk to you about your relationship with Michael Shannon because, I mean, George and Tammy, like you guys are super passionate. I would think you would have to have so much trust in your fellow actor to just
Yes.
put it all out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, Mike and I had worked together in a film called Take Shelter about 10 years ago, and we've been friends for a while. And, when you're doing something like that, when you're like, okay, I need to be singing these songs and doing all this scary stuff, who can I trust that's going to be there with me? And Mike's he's a great guitarist. He's in a band called Corporal. I just was like, he just feels like he would be able to embody George in such an exciting way, and I'd feel safe with him.
Wow. And so, speaking of being a performer, you perform the songs. You're singing for Tammy. Was that that's a whole other level of portraying a character. You're not just acting like them and performing like them. You are singing like her. How was that process for you? And was it difficult to find that voice?
It was so scary, man. We did everything live. So we were
Oh my
the extras were incredibly sweet, but we'd be doing, I remember I shot the scene in Vegas where I sing Stand By Your Man, and I'm in this red sequined, it's episode 3, which is coming out this weekend, but I'm in this sequined gown and there's hundreds of people at these tables looking up at me. And I'm just like, oh, here we go.
Oh
I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. Bourbon helped me get through it, but it was tough.
That's amazing. So there you are. Like you're really putting it all out there too. Bourbon helped you get through it, just as I'm sure. Well, we know it helped George. It hurt George too, but got Tammy through a lot of stuff as well.
Exactly. I mean, there were some other things that helped Tammy get through, which we find out later to get through the difficult stuff she went through.
Okay, and then I did hear that while you guys were in Nashville, you and Michael actually visited George and Tammy because you were recording right near the cemetery where they're buried, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were recording at this studio. We did all the pre-records. So pre-records are basically, if we show up on set one day and we have laryngitis, then we lip sync. But we actually never ended up using them because we never got laryngitis. And, so the director never had us do it. But we were right up to this cemetery where George and Tammy are laid to rest. And it was every time we go to Nashville, we go and visit them. We were just there for the premiere and we went again. It's incredibly moving. Tammy's, she's in the mausoleum. And the first time I went, I just burst into tears. It's covered with drawings from fans and cards from families. And there's like a wreath of cotton. It's so clear how beloved she is and what an amazing woman that she was.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and the show George and Tammy. Now I'm a big Yellowstone fan, and those two are like crossing paths all the time. Every time I watch Yellowstone, they're like, "You'll love George and Tammy." Like right after, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I know I will." Especially that has Jessica Chastain, because you're one of the best, Oscar winner, and in, as I mentioned, like all of my favorite movies.
Yeah, seriously. Congratulations on
Oh,
everything,
thank you.
including this series. And just thank you for your time today. This has been such a thrill.
Thank you so much. I mean, we broke the record for Showtime in 50 years. We're the biggest premiere Showtime has ever had.
Wow.
We're
Oh my
82%
gosh,
on
that's
Rotten
amazing.
Tomatoes, certified fresh. I mean, it's amazing. So I hope everyone gets to see the show and they, like it as much as we loved making it.
Even Oscar winners know that us fans, we check out Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my God, I check out Rotten Tomatoes. That's my barometer.
Amazing. Jessica Chastain, thank you so much and continued success. We can't wait for you to get back to Philly. Run up those steps again.